Hello everyone, my name is Jackson, also known as Sparky, and this is part 2 of my Sparky's workshop tutorials. To begin, drag your audio into your sequence. Now for my composition, I'm using 1080 by 1440 at 60 FPS. This is because social media sites like TikTok and Instagram like to work with this specific format. Now, using our selected folder with all our sprites containing everything that we did in Photoshop, we're going to click New Comp from Selection and select the Body type. Once you hit OK, you'll notice that it brings all these sprites into one composition. What you're going to want to do next is equalize everything. I'm using the position, scale, and anchor points to adjust everything. This way, when I'm moving different anchor points and moving different positions for the different sprites, they're all going to move in the way that I want them to. It doesn't need to be perfect, but try to use a reference when possible. That way, when you're aligning things, you look as close as they can get to the original image. When adjusting the hair, make sure to use the arrow keys to align it perfectly. Select all the layers that have to do with the head. Then right-click, select Pre-Comp, and name your composition Head. Now drag the body composition into the main composition. Now what we're going to do is take the clip lengths and extend them to match the composition. Next, we're going to begin the process of keyframing. Using the Puppet Position tool, we're going to lock in joints around the head that we want to keep stable. Then, using the Advanced Puppet tool, we're going to create points of movement around the hair. Make sure all the puppet tools are being used on the hair layer. Now move the marker slightly forward on the timeline, and use this to make your new keyframes. Using the Rotation, Scale, and Position tools, adjust your keyframes. Once you've added all your second motions, then we move on to the next step. Once you're done, select all your keyframes. Press Fn and F9 to ease them. Now group select all of the first keyframes, then copy and paste them onto an interval in front of the second keyframes. Now as you can see, I'm taking them and spreading them out in different intervals. This is so that the hair flows at a different pace. Now select your first group and copy and paste them all the way across the timeline. Repeat this process for all of your keyframes. Now that we're done, we're going to do the same thing for the smile. I locked in the Position Puppet tool and the two Advanced Puppet tools to create an illusion of a smile bending. Now just like we did with the last ones, I'm going to press Fn and F9 after selecting all the keyframes. Then I copy the first keyframes and put them after the second keyframes. Copy and paste them all the way to the end of the timeline. Now go into the main composition and adjust the anchor point for the head, because now it's a pre-composition, which means the anchor point got reset. Once you've finished, adjust the position. Now we learn expressions. If you press Alt and click on the stopwatch, it will allow you to create a rule for the value you want to adjust. For example, I want the rotation to wiggle 2 times a second for an interval of 2 degrees. That means time first, value second. Now it's 2 times a second for a value of 3 degrees. I want the jaw to move along with the mouth, so I'm going to go in with a position tool and keyframe the different areas. Remember, leave the first set of keyframes as the default and the second ones as the ones you change. Fn F9 to ease, and copy and paste. Now I accidentally added keyframes on the second interval, so what I'm going to do is select 2 of the keyframes and move them to the first part. Now I can move the jaw with the smile. Most importantly, make sure to save your project file. After Effects has a tendency to crash quite a bit. Now for the cape. First, I'm going to use the position tool to lock in the neck. Then, I'm going to use the advanced puppet tools and create different areas of movement for the cape. Use the same method that you used on the hair to move the different keyframes. Copy, paste, and repeat. However, instead of using a 3 keyframe basis, I'm going to make it a 5 keyframe basis because this is a less stagnant movement. The cape is a lot more fluid than the hair. With these keyframes, I'm adjusting the scale as well. I didn't do this with the hair because I didn't feel the need to. However, with the cape, it's moving back and forth, so using a scale helps give that illusion of depth. Now just like I did with the rotation, I'm going to add an expression to the scale. This concludes my part 2 of my animation tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try my best to get back to it. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.